Hey nerds! This is the Pretty Nerdz podcast. Let's get into it.
Now point your fingers up to the sky and talk through your nose way up high. Spin and dip and jump and cavort and finish it off with a laugh and snort.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Pretty Nerdz podcast. This is your girl Falan DeAnn.
And this is your girl, Nay.
So how's everything been going?
Pretty good, not too bad. I think I'm getting a cold. Ugh, I hate it. But this time of the year, sinuses be acting up, so I gotta expect it. It happens every year, so I just get used to it. But nonetheless, other than that, I've been pretty good. What about yourself?
I've been cool. Same thing. I think it's like making its rounds in our house. The baby was sick, then my husband got sick. So now it's like come down to me. So I'm trying to stop it, but it's horrible.
Yeah, girl. Oh, I just hate this time of year. I'm just ready for the spring again. Can we bring the warm weather?
Listen, and it was like Friday was like a perfect day, and then boom, Saturday is like, my gosh, it is freezing outside.
Oh, girl, we had tornadoes. So that was shitty. Like Saturday night, we had like tornadoes all fucking there. I mean, well, through the night. So, but at least I was safe. So I can't complain because I know in Kentucky they were not. There was a lot of people who ended up dying, and I believe like a building collapsed and all kind of crazy stuff. So I'm just glad we were safe, that we weren't hit too hard. I mean, we had the winds and everything like that, but I think it like went over the top of us. So good things nonetheless. Anywho, I guess we can let's jump into the hot topics for this week. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's start. I'm gonna get the whole Jussie thing out of the way. So let's start there. Jussie Smollett was on trial. If you guys remember, it happened a couple of years ago. He talked about he was a victim of a hate crime. Chicago initially was going to press charges saying he lied about it. Then the charges were dropped. Then a special prosecutor came back and they decided to go through with it. He was on trial. Trial lasted for a week. A whole bunch of crazy shit came out. All in all, he ended up being found guilty on 5 counts of faking the hate crime. His sentencing hasn't taken place yet. There's a lot of people who, people are falling every which way on it. Most people that I've talked about or that I've talked to or seen feel like he shouldn't get any jail time to it. Probation, community service, pay a fine, whatever. But there are some people who are leaving heavy, saying that he should do jail time for it. What are your thoughts on the whole debacle?
For me personally, I don't even understand the reason why it's even coming back up. I definitely don't think it deserves jail time, and I'm not a comparison person, but we see all these people that do all of way more egregious things, and they get off scot free. I don't know. I still feel like there's some truth to his story. And as weird as it may be, like, I don't know. I still feel it's some truth to it. So, I mean, his lawyer has plans to appeal it. But I don't know. I just feel like, why were they hammering so much on this? Like, it's just weird for me. So, I don't.
I mean, I don't disagree with you in that because I feel like ultimately, unless he does go to jail, the results are going to come out the same. Because if you remember, when they dropped the charges, they said he was just going to pay. He agreed to pay like some money to them and do some community service. So ultimately, now it's going to come out the exact same fucking way. The only difference is y'all wasted a bunch of taxpayers' money to go to trial. My thing is that I'll be honest in that the stuff I saw from the trial, I was shocked that they got the conviction because there wasn't really they didn't really have no solid evidence. It was just it was more of a he say, she say. And I'm shocked in a criminal trial that they were able to, you know what I mean? That they were able to, where you need so much more burden of proof, that they were able to get any type of conviction out of that. Because that tells me that you have to give the prosecutor some credit in that they must have did amazing in the jury selection, because they had to have found a jury who just, and ultimately, regardless of what they heard, was just going to be like, nah, I believe this nigga's guilty and he needs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the only, because if you objectively, right, if you take yourself out of the what we know or, you know, what we think about the situation, if what they presented in court, there was just too many holes in the prosecutor's story that because people forget, by the way, that it's not the defense who has to prove that he committed the crime. It's the prosecution's job. And there was too many holes and not enough evidence in the prosecutor's story to prove that he did commit the crime. You know what I mean? That it was a hoax. Now, granted, you can have you could say a lot of shit that he didn't make sense, but so what? I mean, the defense poked enough holes in the prosecutor's story or left enough questions that who could say within reasonable doubt that he did or didn't do it? You know what I'm saying? I don't, you know, I can't argue or say that maybe those brothers weren't trying to extort him for money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't, or, you know, maybe the brother was ashamed he was, you know, that he was going to come out when he was gay, so he was trying to extort money. I don't know, or that's, you know, who can say? To me, there was too many holes in the story, especially from, like I said, from the things that we've seen about on criminal trials. I didn't think there was enough proof to get a conviction. But again, the jury is the jury, and they did get a conviction. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think that he'll see jail time for this. I think ultimately it's going to end up the same way, like probation and a fine, which was essentially what he got before, community service and a fine. You know what I mean? Like that was essentially what he agreed to anyway. But so I don't, and I mean, and then people were like, well, it's about the embarrassment. So now but I mean, he was embarrassed before. He was a joke. You know what I mean? He was a joke before, and people, so I don't know. Either way it goes, I'm just like, ugh. I hate that it had to be some Black folks. That's all.
Yeah, and that's what, and they actually said that like it would not change anything. They would, you know, he would still just have like the same. He wouldn't serve any jail time. So I'm like you said, like, what's the point? Like, I don't get it, but okay.
Yeah, and there's just in my opinion, there's so much fucking other harsh crimes that are occurring, especially in Chicago. Like, why waste their money on it?
That's what I understand.
But you know,
Be like, y'all get like smash and grabs, everything going on. Exactly. And you over here worried about this.
Exactly. Anywho, so let's jump into good news. Meg Thee Stallion, pun intended. Ha! Anyway, good news. Meg Thee Stallion did officially graduate from Texas Southern University. Congratulations to her. She got a degree in, I believe it's in health administration. So good for her. Congratulations. I'm glad that she was able to finish it. So that's amazing. There's reports that she is going to open up a home for like a healthcare home, I guess, for maybe older people or something like that, where they're going to be taking care of people. And she plans to hire recent HBCU grads. So congratulations to her. You know, you can have more than one dream. And it's amazing that she is showing that to folks. So congrats. Okay. Also, I guess let's jump into this Drake and Kanye Free Larry Hoover concert or whatnot. So I didn't watch it. I have my reasons. I don't support, I am all for justice reform, but I don't support the person that they're talking about freeing. So I didn't want to, even though it was available on Prime for free, I just wasn't putting my energy towards that situation. But what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
I definitely like agree. Even like I think it was a couple of years ago, like I saw a status that I was looking at where somebody, and I don't know if it was Kanye too or somebody else, where they went on like this whole free Larry Hoover and he shouldn't be in jail. And again, I think it's one of those things. It's like y'all could push for so many other people to be released than him. Like it's one of those things. Like he did it. I want to say, oh, it was trumped up evidence, so he ain't commit or have nobody murdered. Like, bro, this is like, unfortunately, like a hood legend. So, like, let's just be honest and like, I agree with you. Like, I don't support him being out. He shouldn't see the light of day. I don't care about, oh, he served 25 years already. Okay, well, let him serve the rest of his time. Like, he did it. No matter how much you want to look at it, he did it.
Right. And like I said, I fully support prison reform. It's one of those things where it's like two things can be true at the same time. I think that prison reform is a must. We know that in this country, it's necessary. I also agree that maybe his sentencing was excessive, 6 life terms. I mean, who the fuck is gonna, you know what I mean? Like, who's gonna live for 6 lifetimes? I also even agree maybe that the conditions at the max security prison that he is in may be terrible, are terrible. I'm not even gonna say maybe, they are terrible. But at the same time, I just cannot get behind the idea of freeing someone who, even again, we know the CIA ain't shit. We know that. There's tons of evidence to support the CIA ain't shit. We know J. Edgar Hoover was racist. He consistently targeted Black people. He destroyed a lot of Black people's lives. We know that. I fully am on the wave of the CIA conspiracy that they were the ones who introduced crack into the Black community. All of those things can be true, but it does not neglect that Larry Hoover created, one of the biggest plagues in the Black community, being the gang that he is the founder of. And the ramifications of what he created is still being felt to this day. And regardless of whether people say if they trumped up charges on in order to get him in, the facts are, like you said, people know that he was behind, having people killed. It's just a part of the life that he created. So I can't, I'm sorry, I just can't see campaigning for a person like that to be free, even if he has reformed his life or changed who he is. Let him speak from prison, or let him speak to young men from prison in that way, set that type of example. But that don't mean that he deserves to walk the streets and be free. Not after all of the moms and dads and sisters and brothers and all of that who are sitting and have lost someone behind unnecessary gang violence. Not at all the little babies who have been killed and murdered in drive-bys behind unnecessary gang violence. Like, no, he helped create that. He's a part of establishing that culture. He deserved to sit where he's sitting. I'm sorry.
Right. And that's what I don't understand. Like, and it was like somebody that, of course, was arguing on like my Facebook status was like, well, he did his time. Well, no, he didn't. I'm like, he had a whole organization that plagued the Black community, that terrorized the Black community. I don't care. It could have started out as good, which okay, fine, but it ain't ended up like that. So in true capitalism, greed took over, and we're right here now. So I'm like, it's not. I just don't know. I just feel like it's so many other people.
Exactly.
Like, they ain't even gotta be completely 100% innocent. But imagine how many Black men are in jail for drug convictions.
Right?
Like, y'all could have took that money and like, and as a collective and say, okay, let's get out as many of these back or clear as many of their records as we possibly can from this concert. Him? Like, no, no.
Facts.
He need to be where he is. Like, he is in the right place. I just, yeah, no.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Again, but nonetheless, it was a big hoopla per usual. People, I think honestly, people mostly tuned in because it was Drake and Kanye. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't gonna even tune anyway because I don't fucking support Kanye. So I love me some Aubrey, but I don't support Kanye at all. So that was also another turn off for me. Y'all know, listen, y'all are some forgiving ass folks, but as a Black person, you're not gonna do the shit that Kanye didn't say, the shit that Kanye didn't say, and expect me to be like, oh yeah, I fucks with you. I'm a support. Nah, fuck you. You didn't told me as a Black person, fuck you. So fuck you.
Listen, and then it's like, I don't know, like, people, like, I'm still stuck on, like, oh, he's a genius. There's nothing about him that's genius. Like, everything is, you can't even, if you can't listen to your own wife telling you what she need, how is he a genius?
Shit, listen.
Like, but how do you feel about the whole Drake and Kanye like makeup?
Honestly, as somebody who likes Drake, to be completely honest with you, it is one of my biggest pet peeves with him. Like, he is too like he's too like what's the word? I hate to put it like, but he mixy as fuck. I'm sorry. He too mixy. Like, he gotta be friends and buddy with everybody. Like, that man literally set set up set you up to have one of the biggest, in my opinion, or the only loss that I've ever seen him take, the only L I've ever seen him take in a beef or a battle was with Pusha T. And Kanye set you up for that. Like, how do you forgive that as a rapper? Like, that's coming at your life. It's the same thing with Meek. I understand y'all had a friendship before, but that man literally came for your whole entire livelihood. Like, if we was in a different era, like we in an era now where the Stan era, where them kids don't give a fuck if you right or not. But like, if you was in a different era, them ghostwriting rumors would have ended your fucking career. Like, nobody would have fucked with you ever as a rap. Like, that would have ended everything for you. So like, that nigga came for your livelihood, but now you buddy with him. And it's the same thing for Kanye. Like, that dude came for your child, and y'all buddy now. Like, shit's weird. Shit's weird.
That's what I don't like. I was like, I don't know, and I was like, I don't think he went that far with Jay-Z, and Jay-Z just nope, because we ain't even gonna play like that. So I don't know. I was real life tripped out. I'm like, I could never, and it may be just because of my attitude, but I could never like see myself being friends with him again after he did that. But like, cause I wouldn't be able to like trust you or tell you anything. And I don't want to ever be in that position hanging around anybody be like, nah, bro, nah, you good. Like, I can't fool with you like that. Not on that level.
Right. Like, I don't listen, girl. Ugh, a mess. That's all I say. That whole situation was a mess to me, but we'll see if it was real. Like, if they actually made up, like if we see it, or if it was just a part of me feels like it was just really like he can't say, he feel like he OJ Prince something, and so he don't say no to him. So I don't know, but
But I feel like Kanye gonna cross him again too. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Because Kanye is jealous of Drake. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. You can tell by Kanye's actions. He is absolutely jealous of Drake, period. So, yeah, a mess. So let's jump into this whole Tristan scandal yet again. Third trimester, Thomas strikes again, y'all.
I don't get it. Like,
And
sir.
You know what's so funny is that like initially, like you didn't feel bad for Chloe, but at this point, I'm just like, sis, the fuck is in your mind that would make you just like, I don't even know, because like you couldn't have cheated on me while I was pregnant and had me, you know what I'm saying? Like she was literally in the delivery room and we were seeing shit pop up. He out with this girl, he out with that girl, he smashing her. Like you couldn't have had that happen while I was giving birth to your child and me ever fuck with you again. But let alone to now go through the whole thing that you went with Jordan, you know what I'm saying, being exposed, you and your sisters being exposed as mean girls, because that's what y'all was during that whole situation. And then getting back with that man only to be embarrassed again by him having another baby. And then we really get to him being truthfully exposed as the fuckboy that he is, because we see all these messages about how, well, it don't matter, whatever the outcome, I'm still not gonna be involved. Like you,
Yeah,
a mess.
and I know like people like, oh, Jordan was like wrong. I don't get how she was wrong. Maybe it's just me, because I'm like, he kissed her. And you also know how some people are, where they're not ready to receive the information that you may have. So I just think blogs or whatever get to it before, she could say, hey, let me tell you what happened. But from all accounts, it's like Jordan didn't come on. For me, they act like Jordan came on him. And that was my issue that I had with it. But I'm like, bro, we see that everybody see he's the issue. Like, there is no reason I would have even been like tripped out really with her, even the person that you with. Like, you with a whole heap of trash.
Facts.
And his voice don't even go with his face. Like, I couldn't even put up with it. Be like, I'm irritated that you got this little bitty voice. And then what make it worse, your voice already small, then you turn into a valley girl when you have an interview with her. It makes it even worse. But yeah, that message that he sent, I was like, I still have no plans of being there. Be like, but that's your mistake. You can't get mad because you got somebody pregnant and they don't want to have an abortion. Like, you got to know that that's what comes along with having sex. And if you don't want that, then don't do it.
Facts.
And people like, he got a type. I'm like, I don't consider Chloe ugly. Like, but that lady, like, straight up and down, be like, bro, what was you thinking? And they just show like, bro, y'all be out here, you worth like dollars. And it is so true. He was like, I'm retired. So you think that the judge ain't gonna be like looking at your assets? They don't give a fuck about you retiring. You a whole fucking basketball player for the NBA. You think a judge gonna be like, oh, you know what? You're retired. You have no income this year. So boop, your child support amount gonna be zero. No, they're gonna pull your assets.
Listen, them excuses he was throwing out, shit, listen, that's just fuckboy 101, because I just was like, this nigga, pure D trash. And as far as the whole, we never actually talked about the Jordan thing in depth. And I feel like, and I just want to throw this out there because I don't think like I said, we never talked about it truthfully in depth. I never understood the smoke that people have for Jordan, or people still have for Jordan, where people were saying, well, she was wrong. By all accounts, like you said, he kissed her, but more than that, she was drunk as a skunk. That's where she was drunk beyond the point of giving consent. So my thing is that I don't understand how nobody ever had smoke for Tristan for in the fact that he was being a creeper and creeping on someone who obviously couldn't give consent. So,
Listen,
but they didn't want to have that conversation.
of course.
Nobody ever want to have that conversation. But who am I?
And that's what I was like. I was like, I didn't get it. I was like, I feel like, like it would have been different if she kissed him, or maybe it was an affair after, or something like that. And I'm like,
Hell, if she was sober,
right?
If she was sober, I could understand maybe having a little smoke for her, but she wasn't even sober.
But even if somebody kisses you first, like even if you sober, you like, hey, yeah. But then if I know where you are, like, listen, I got plans on telling you, but where you are right now might not be the best time for you to receive information. Or basically what did happen is that, oh, you just gonna take whatever he said, or it's automatically my fault.
Right.
Because I'm like, y'all got on here and tore the girl down, and then people in the comments was like, they act like they wanted that Jordan from out of the projects, and she was, destitute and distressed, or she wasn't gonna be anything without the Kardashians. Which, boo, that's not true. This girl was already mingling with the wealthy, already frolicking in luxury. More than likely, she was gonna have money.
Yeah.
Did maybe the Kardashians give her a name sooner rather than later? Yeah. But she was going, I feel like she was still going to be that girl. I'm like, she's attractive. Her parents are wealthy. Her circle is wealthy.
Right.
So, and they marry, and most wealthy people marry other wealthy people. So I feel like she was still going to ride. Which way she got there, she was still going to ride.
Fact. What's meant for you is meant for you.
Right. But it's just, I don't know. And then, like, I read in like the comments that was like Larsa was messing with him first. I was like, so y'all were friends, and then when y'all fell out, she came out and was like, "Oh, I was talking to him before Chloe." I was just nasty. Because if my friend's talking to a dude, my friend could pick up Idris Elba right now and be like, "Damn, you cute, but that's it."
Yeah. We ain't trying to circle high.
Right. You just become an elder, be like, I mean, he cute. That's all I can say. He cute.
Oh, strange times we live in. Strange times. Speaking of strange times, we're gonna touch on this super quick because I really don't want to get into this mess. But Tasha K, Cardi B, we know Cardi is suing Tasha K for what is this shit called? Is it slander or libel? Whatever.
It's like defamation.
There we go, defamation.
Yeah.
Because Tasha K said on her show that Cardi B allegedly, well, she didn't say allegedly, but we're gonna say allegedly,
right,
had an STD or had herpes or whatnot. So Cardi B sued her for defamation. Apparently, the records came back and it said that she didn't. So my guess is that that's going to be the end of the Tasha K gonna have to pay up. I don't know. I don't really fully know the scope of the case because I don't follow that Cardi like that. I don't follow the situations like this. I don't know. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I follow Tasha K, but I don't follow her because a lot of information that she puts out, I feel like she's one of those people, like, I just want to do it first. And it's a lot of opinion-based stuff. I mean, I really don't feel bad for her because I'm like, you're a blogger, you have a nice following, you should know that, hey, put allegedly in there just so it'll take some of the heat off your back. And that's a big accusation to make towards somebody. Like, I don't like that. Like, even if she did have herpes or any other sexually transmitted infection or whatever, I don't feel like it's your business as a blogger or any blogger, TMZ, Shade, to put anybody medical history out like that. Like, that was to shame her.
Facts.
And that's the last thing I feel like we need. That stigma is like, we're supposed to be moving away as a society from that, having that stigma, especially when herpes is so prevalent, like across all demographics. Like that's a common, virus or infection to have. So it's like, why would you even want to put that out there like that? And it's like, I don't know, that when it comes, like, I can't knock Cardi for suing her,
Right.
like looking for the like, bro, no. And I'm like, even if she had, allegedly, or if she has some other sexually transmitted disease, like that's something that I just feel like you don't discuss. That those are her medical records. Leave it alone.
Yeah. I definitely think there are things that should be off limits. And I think that that's one of the scopes that needs to, because we saw it happen with tabloids. Like, you remember when in like the 80s and 90s, well, obviously we were born in the 80s, so we don't really remember, but during those times, when paper was big, tabloids used to be really big. And it took a lot of like people suing, the stuff that happened with Princess Di, all that, for people to really like set ground rules for tabloids. And I think that we are in the space now with the internet where we're trying to get some regulations and things like that. I think there needs to also be regulations for these blogs and gossip sites and things like that as well, because like there should just be places that they shouldn't be allowed to go. Like I think that are things that should be off limit. Outing people, talking, like you said, people's medical records, like shit like that should just be off limit. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I wasn't mad at all with Cardi about that. Being like, you shouldn't have said it. And if you don't have her medical records right there going off, oh, she slept with somebody else and they had herpes, then I mean she got it.
Facts.
Then I
Period.
mean she had it. So now you fucked.
Exactly.
I mean, like I said, I don't feel necessarily bad for her, because like just listening to some of her stuff is just like, bro, chill.
Exactly.
Like,
You rape what yourself.
right. So
Yeah.
yeah. Wish both of them the best.
Yeah, basically. All right, so let's jump into this Astroworld update. So Travis Scott gave his first interview since the tragedy. He sat down with Charlemagne the God and he broke his silence basically about the whole Astroworld tragedy. He says that he does not feel, he said that he didn't feel like it was his fault, because he said he did not know. He maintains that he did not know until after the festival was over. He obviously he sent out condolences and prayers and everything to the family. Pretty much I will say it pretty much was just a routine of what I didn't expect there to be any, like, because people were like, from what I saw, people were thinking they were expecting him to admit guilt, or that was going to be what that interview was. But to me, it was what I expected, him to say how much he loves his fans, how sorry he was about it happening, prayers and condolences to the family, but ultimately to say, hey, I didn't know. Anything that a good lawyer, if he has, and I'm assuming he has a good lawyer, would have told him to say. Even though, in my opinion, if I was his lawyer, I would have told him not to say shit and just wait to go to trial. Because my thing is that people at this point, people dislike you right now. Your name is hot in these streets. People ain't fucking with you. So whether you say something or don't say anything, people still not gonna be fucking with you. So him coming out and saying something, in my opinion, people weren't gonna respond nicely to it anyway. Everybody's gonna think it was fake and contrived anyway. So why say anything at all? Just wait till the shit go to trial and leave it at that. But I get why he said something, but at the same time, I'm like, if it was me, I wouldn't have said anything. But off the heat of that, obviously, we've been seeing a lot of things have been pulled or canceled. His drink that he had, his little, it's not even, I don't know, it's almost like a fucking wine cooler, in my opinion. Like those little seltzer
Yeah, like a
barely,
busy, I guess you can say
yeah,
almost.
them barely alcoholic drinks. Yeah, so that's been pulled. We know his shoe has been pulled. Also, reports are coming out that he has been pulled from the lineup from Coachella in 2022, which I'm not surprised. That's to be expected. I don't expect any festivals within probably the next 2 or 3 years. If I don't know, it depends on, I guess, how the trial goes in the next 2 or 3, maybe 2 years, for him to be on anybody's festival within a steady time frame. But what are your thoughts on the interview and people's response and everything like that?
Um, like you, it was pretty standard. I can't, I don't know, I guess I agree, but I feel like he shouldn't have said any, like, not an interview. What the statement that you released, let that do whatever it's supposed to do, let that linger in the air and just go from there. Because I feel like since we're in such a like a social media like age, people want you to come out and give all the gory details. They want to know A, B, C, D, and E, and why did you do this? And I want this question answered. And they're not a family member of the deceased. They're not a show promoter. They're not a jury. They're not a judge. Nothing. They just want to know the information because they know they're missing. It was crazy because people like, he didn't really answer any of the questions. I mean, what do you expect a man to do knowing that one wrong thing that he says, prosecution can pick it up and say, okay, you did know, or their family pick it up and you did know. I'm like, he's literally in the middle of what, $1 billion worth of lawsuits?
Exactly.
So he has to be very measured with what he says, how he says it. And I'm like, you don't want to, come off as being callous. You want to show that like I do care about people lost. And I don't think that he doesn't care. Like I honestly think that like, it's one of those things that like, if he could do it all over again, like damn, I would do it all over again and maybe do this different. I don't think that for Live Nation and the other people, um, but I do think him as an artist, he probably would have did something different. People went on in the comments was like, well, he stopped the show because somebody attended you. I'm like, but that was personally attached to him. So he know, like, hey, this is missing or somebody took my shoe. I mean, I wasn't expecting a lot from the interview. Like I honestly, I don't know. I just don't see how people were expecting like expose or something like that. I don't understand it. Like, I'm happy that Hulu pulled their documentary. I'm a documentary like watcher, but I'm happy that they pulled it because I'm like, it's really not the time, like at all.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, shit, I don't even think all the victims were like in the ground yet. And I'm like, y'all already on a fucking documentary. How? But yeah, I was expecting vague. So I just feel like if it's gonna be vague, then just not do it and just like listen. I ain't got nothing to say. And it's okay with not having anything to say outside of the statement that you made. So I mean, that's just my take on it.
Yeah. I will say with that whole thing, I don't think that people I hate to say this, but I don't think when all the dust settles, I don't think that the outcome that people think is going to happen is going to happen. Just by the precedents that have been set in the past when events like this has happened, I don't think that the outcome that people are expecting to happen is going to happen the way that they, you know what I mean? Like I think people are expecting that, they're going to win all of these lawsuits, that, the families and everybody, they're going to win all these lawsuits. He's going to be fully canceled. He's going to be bankrupt. We'll never hear from Travis Scott again, blah, 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 blah. I don't, like I said, based on the precedents that have been set, I don't think that that's going to be the case. I honestly don't think it's going to even be the payout that people are expecting. I think that, in all honesty, looking at the lawsuits, the lawyers approached it wrong. Because if it was me, in those lawsuits, or if I was the lawyer, I would have sued Live Nation. I would have sued the city. You know what I mean? Because the fire department, in my opinion, fire department, the police department, Live Nation, promoters, all of those people are at fault. Going for the artist, the name, you may win in public opinion, or you know what I mean? You may win the battle in the court of public opinion, but like in the court of law, I don't feel like it's gonna go the way that a lot of people think it's gonna go. That's all I'm saying. Just based on like I went through and I read some precedents for other tragedies that have happened in the past at concerts and events like this. And a lot of the time, I will say pretty much in every one I read, the artist was found not, you know what I mean, not culpable or not responsible for the tragedy. Pretty much every instance that I read, I couldn't find one where the artist was found, found guilty of the negligence. So I don't know if, like I said, I just don't think that the way that people think this is gonna go, that it's gonna go. And that sucks, because I feel like the people who deserve it the most are the families, and I feel like they're being buried in this by the other people who just see it as a money grab.
Yeah. For me, I feel like if I was like seriously, and this is not like, I don't know, like, oh, be greedy money type thing, but if it was my family member that passed away, I don't want to be part of the class action lawsuit. I let y'all handle it on your own. I feel like it's going to be settlements, but I feel like it's going to be settlements with the people that took the biggest loss. Like all these other people that's just hopping in, oh, I fell or I tripped over, this is what happened. Like, bro, y'all gotta chill. Like, for real, for real. I don't know. I just feel like of course, I think attorneys are like, oh, this is gonna be the case. Because given his like crowd, but it's like also when you look at it, given his crowd, you know what you should expect. And like you said, like I would have sued them off the top. Like, first, I'm suing you. Like, you admitted that you didn't even get his permit enough time for the ink to dry before the event was set to start. You didn't probably do the proper clearance that you should do for an event of that magnitude. Like you said, the fire department for not shutting it down, security for not, hey, this needs to be shut down. Because I'm like, as much as it's the promoter's fault, it's security. Also, like, listen, we over capacity. You got to shut it down.
Shut it, exactly. There were so many instances and so many people who failed before it even got to the Travis Scott space of it all. Like, in my opinion, there were so many measures that were missed that it should have never came to people having to scream at an artist on stage to stop a show. Which, by the way, I actually wanted to point this out because we didn't talk about it the last time. But just going back to our festival experience, you remember when we were in there, a lot of the times, like, people were like, well, people were screaming at him from the crowd to stop the show, or people were like going on stage towards the cameraman, people yelling, stop it. A lot of times when you're in those, they can't hear y'all. I hope, like, I really want people to, like, y'all know they can't hear you on the stage. They got all of this in ears going. They got all of the music, everything like that. Like, it's loud. There's so many people in the screaming, yelling. Like, so for people to say, well, there's videos of people yelling at him to stop it. Well, okay. There's also 50,000 people in the crowd screaming and yelling at him, plus all of the music that's going. Like, and people were saying, well, they were talking to the camera people. Okay. But again, the cameraman has on his little thing, he's focusing on his, you know what I'm saying? He could honestly just think this is just a fan trying to get up on stage to get at, you know what I mean? Like there are, like I said, that's why I don't think that these lawsuits are going to go the way that people think they're going to go, just because the precedents that have been set beforehand and just the shit that goes along with putting on a show. So I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, I definitely, for me, it hangs on definitely Live Nation, because I'm like, even as a promoter, if I'm looking and saying, oh shit, you could see out in the crowd, or you have the visual from multiple people. And I think even for like, I don't know if you saw it, like the picture where it shows like the police department doing lyrics and Nate. Bro,
listen,
they're right there. That's
lawsuit, okay?
Because
the
that
police
was
department
negligent.
Standing around just looking, watching him perform.
Right. And you're not doing your job. You're not observing a crowd, making sure that everyone is safe as possible. So like those issues, and I like just picking back off you saying like they're not hearing you, like y'all, like even when people yell out and artists say, oh, respond to somebody yelling out, oh, I love you. The audience almost like has to be close to silent. And somebody has to be very loud for them to receive that, I love you.
Right.
Like I said, I don't know. Like I don't, people want him to be crucified or whatever. I wouldn't counsel him. I'm not a fan, so I can't. But if I was, like, I wouldn't counsel him. I just think now it's a lesson for, maybe the artists, the promoters of the events and everything, to be like, okay, listen, there has to be a stopping point. But it comes down to greed.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would have been easy as fuck. Like at that point, I mean, it wasn't an act of God that stop the show. It was the crowd. Push it back. If we pushing you back and you outside of it, we sorry. Listen to the damn show from the parking lot, but you gotta go.
You got to go. We're not doing this.
Like, I don't understand. I'm like, I just don't understand. Like, okay, so when the crowd broke the barrier, what the fuck what was y'all doing?
Listen, I'm confused.
What was y'all preventative measure to say, okay, they have broke this barrier? Did nobody think like, I don't know, hey, stop this?
Yeah. Listen, I'm with you. There's just so many, like I said, there's so many unanswered questions there that, in my opinion, need to be answered. And I don't understand how all of it snowballed to everything is put the blame on Travis, because there's so many things before that just don't, you know what I mean, that were just fuck ups. So I don't know. Don't know. Anything else for hot topics this week?
I don't think I have anything. No.
All right.
No.
Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the relationship portion of the show.
Alrighty. So this is just, I guess I'm gonna try to phrase this, but I don't know how many of you guys watched the whole Toby and Fat. So I don't know how to say his last name, but he's like the rapper, that has his whole family on stage. Always wear the socks and the mint green, and his wife Fat. So they did a YouTube series that gives like how they met and the start of their romance all the way up to his proposal. And I mean, now of course, with Instagram and YouTube and their Facebook, we get to see where they are now. It was kind of cringeworthy for me, because he was like, he didn't want her. And it was, the reason why I say it was cringe at one part, when she was saying like, he was like, oh, I want to be friend. She was like, well, he wanted to be friends. Like, he interjected and was like, no, it's not that I didn't want to be in a relationship. I didn't want to be in a relationship with you. I'm like, yeah. Like, and she kind of, that's a risk that I wouldn't give any woman to take, where she kind of waited around and was like, oh, I'm gonna play my part as she said either she could not be in his life at all, or she can be in his life and be his friend, which we know in those cases you become an emotional placeholder. for a man, and then you're trying to prove your worth to him that, oh, I am marriage material. And basically that's what happened. It's like, oh, she proved to him that she was marriage material, and then he flew out to meet with her parents, her family, to get, permission to ask for her hand in marriage, which is, I guess you can say, noble. They weren't really, the mama wasn't really feeling it, so she almost flaked on him. I For me, I didn't like it. And I don't really idolize or like, oh, now your relationship goes or anything like that. They're always kind of being cringy to me because he always overtalks her. I like him because he is talented, but that's it. Their relationship doesn't really do much for me, like, at all. But it's just, yeah, that's one of them roles that I don't think any woman should ever play, and it's a big risk that you take being a placeholder or showing a man, "Hey, I'm marriage material," because you could be in that space for 10, 15 years, and he gonna pick up and marry somebody in 3 months, and that person doesn't do as much as you do. She don't cook, she don't clean, nothing.
Facts.
So I didn't like that, but I guess one of my questions, because a lot of people like, "Oh, this is what happens, with relationship goals." Or you looking at the internet. So I guess like my question or like something like that is like, is it okay to like look at internet couples and say, you know what, they have a good relationship? Or I like this, or one thing that you may like admire about them, I guess. I don't know.
So I think that is like a that's one of those like middle of the I don't know how to one of those like yes and no's, because like I don't think that you should ever, and this is my opinion, I don't think that there should ever be any relationship that you take and look at as goals. Because my opinion on love is that everybody's love is going to be different. That's why I'm not big keen on like, what are those, like those relationship books that tell you do this and do that, and then you'll get a man or you'll get a woman or whatever. I'm not big on those just because, or those quote unquote relationship gurus, just because I feel like all love is different. So everybody's relationship, your relationship with your husband is going to be different from so and so's relationship, or it's going to be different from Will and Jada's relationship, is going to be different from Beyonce and Jay-Z. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
everybody's relationship is going to be different. But I do think that you can look at relationships and see certain things within them and be like, oh, those are good qualities that are admirable and maybe things that I would want to translate into my own relationship. Like, oh, the way these two communicate with each other, I like that. And I think that's a beautiful thing, or I think that's something that I can apply to my situation, or the way that those two love on each other, or you know what I mean? Like, or the way that they are as parents, or things like that. I think that you can look at qualities more so than people and the relationship themselves, because again, everybody's different, every relationship's going to be different, so no relationship should necessarily be goals, but I think that there are qualities or things that can be admirable that you can that you may could take or utilize or pull from in your own experiences. What about yourself?
That and that's what I like. Thank you for answering that. That was what I was trying to bring out with my question. I had a hard time articulating that, but that's what I definitely think. I think people get so caught up in like, oh, their whole relationship is goals. Even when people compliment like the YouTubers or the influencers, social media personalities, and say, they have a nice relationship. Like I like the way that Kev on stage like big up his wife.
Right.
Like, and he like make sure that, listen, Melissa, this my everything, and I'm gonna make sure that she's included in everything that I do. I like that, like with Kadeen and DeVal, like childbirth, like I feel like he could be a doula.
Facts.
Like he is there emotionally supporting her. Like I know she's doing the physical work. Even given like, their interviews, he was like, the first child was born in a hospital the traditional way. He seen how, what toll it took on her body. So he was like, I wanted us to have more control over that. So you see now they have home births. He's there with her, helping, her, labor and all of that. So like how you were saying, like there are certain things that I feel like, listen, if they did that, maybe I can do that, or let me show my husband this may be something that he could, do and see that like, listen, even though I have to take on all of, most of the physical work, this is how you can be there. And I think like, with childbirth, some men kind of miss that mark, like, okay, it's really nothing I can do but stand around and wait. When, you can take on a more active role. Like there are so many like, Dr. Jeff, the way that he treats his wife, and even some of the families, that have blended families and all of that. Like, I'm not total against like, social media personalities putting their relationship on the forefront, because I'm like, we take a lot of things from those, even the ones that don't make it. If they're open about like, listen, this is the reason why we broke up. Some people are phony, but I think it just comes down to you discerning, like, okay, and you're not idolizing them and like, oh, I want my relationship to be just like them. They get this, and I'm gonna go get this, and he does this for his wife, so you got to do this for me. It's just like how you say, like those targeted things, like, and even if it's not for me, like I think that's another thing. Like, it's not for me, but I enjoy seeing it. Like I enjoy seeing like Kev on stage, like admiring his wife, and like Melissa is this, Melissa is that. I enjoy seeing it. I enjoy seeing, Dean and Deval with their boys, raising them, and this is how we, do it. And, they excited, like, oh, maybe we're gonna have a girl this time, but it's a boy. They still excited, like we having a happy, happy baby. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we're just in a weird space with social media. And for our generation coming where we see both sides of a world without it and a world with it, it's like, y'all be weird. Like, real weird. Yeah. Even when people like, I don't know if you noticed, but people like, people don't get on here and tell the real story about their relationship. What the fuck I be really want to ask people when they say that, would you be want couples to get on here and say we argued about who ate the last of the ketchup? Exactly. Like, we're not trying to turn you away from relationships, because some of the shit that people in relationships argue about, you just be like, if you could look in, you'd be like, that shit was dumb, like dumb as fuck. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, but that Toby and Fat shit, like if y'all have a chance, just watch it. You're gonna be like, yikes. And I think one part he called her like a hoe, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's not even. That's some. Never mind. That's some toxic type shit. Like, but there are some women who I have come to see. There are some women who actually like believe and thrive and think that shit like that is love. Like I've seen some of those like videos or whatever like that. Like I think there was one video where like a dude pulled a gun on a girl or some shit like that, and and there was people who was really like, I mean, y'all not in a relationship, y'all know if they play like, huh? What do you mean? Like, I can't. Like, I was like, you know what? Maybe there are some people out there that really just believe that type of shit is love, and I don't subscribe to that. But you know what? I guess, honey.
Like you ain't finna do that. I'm gonna go ahead and roll out. Have at it.
Exactly.
But this ain't for me no more.
I wish a nigga would. Like, listen, I cannot. Calling the police, nigga.
Quick, fast, it'll hurt. On the phone crying.
This nigga pulled a gun. Get him out.
Right. Yelling and crying. So we're gonna go to jail.
Lord. All right. So this week for me for relationship questions is also something I've been seeing a lot pop on the internet. There's been a influx of videos that I've been seeing lately of women, and even stories of just women who have been murdered, killed for turning down men. I think I saw one posted in the shade room, about a young woman who literally turned down a dude and he pulled a gun and shot her. I saw a story, I think, also on the neighborhood talk, just about a girl who gave a dude the wrong number, and then he turned out to be like a mover, and he popped up on, you know what I mean? And kept popping up at her house and shit. Shit like that is just so creepy and so crazy. And these stories just keep popping up. So I feel like we've talked about this before, but I want to ask again, what is the best advice to women that you would give on turning down men safely?
Um, so for me, and I just want to put this out there, I think this will cover for both of us. We totally 100% like you should not have to go through this. But I think for our protection, unfortunately, it's like one of those conversations we have to have, just like, your Black children coming back home. Um, for me, it was always, you can have my number. Worst case scenario, if you get fucking crazy and you don't get it after the, 3 or 4 times I don't answer, I'm just gonna get my number changed if you are that antagonized. I think that has saved me a lot of times. Like my friends used to always laugh and be like, bro, you'll give your numbers to anybody. And it's because I have been in those unsafe situations where like a dude tried to spit on me. And the only reason why I didn't, because it didn't land. And the crazy thing about it is just given my situation was I was at work, been like, bruh, I can't give you my number because I am at work, even if I did want to, because I'm not supposed to be patronizing with you like this. It's like get you in, get you out type of deal. But I wasn't interested. So I mean, he with his friends, and especially I would say this: if you see a pack of dudes, and I know it's fucked up, just go ahead, and be like, you know what, here got my number. Call me, call me. Boop. Most of the time, you'll never see them again. And I say most. Sometimes you may. Most of the time, you never see them again. And, even if you pick up the phone, like, well, listen, I know, I gave you my number. I'm not interested anymore. And leave it at that. And I just hate that as women, we're put in that predicament to save our lives or to keep us from being hurt, um, beat on, or anything like that, is that we have to go to the length of quote unquote playing nice. That would be the only thing, because I can't. I mean, men are really shooting for turning them down. Like, so I can't. I would say for me, which is like I say, it's fucked up. It's not a probably, it is fucked up. Give them the number and just move on. And when they call the first time or text you, up, do not answer. I had a whole list of numbers on the do not answer. So there's it. Yeah.
So I'm with you in that. I definitely want to say that it's not something that we think that people should have to go through at all. But unfortunately, like I said, just seeing these influx of stories continually popping up and seeing so many women who are just being brutally murdered for these type of things. Unfortunately, we have to kind of do these talks and say these things. Honestly, I will say that it used to be my go-to, honestly, used to be give a fake number, lie, say I got, say that, have a girlfriend, stuff like, what I'm saying, playing those type of
Yeah.
different cards, trying to lie my way out of it. But now even lying don't work. So my advice to a lot of women now, and this is gonna I don't even think it's extreme anymore. I carry tasers. I have a taser. I have mace. I have obviously I have like they sell this little car key thing, like that has like jagged points on it to go with your keys. It's like a whole little safety kit that you can get off of Amazon. And go take a fucking class and get your permit. I'm just keeping a buck. Like I'm Googling as we speak to learn how to find a class, and I'm gonna go get my gun permit. Like at this point, as a woman in this time and age, it's just so hard. Even like I said, even the old school tricks that we used to do don't work anymore. Like I've even seen, I've even seen stories where, like you said, the story I saw where the woman gave a fake number, and then next thing you know, this dude is turns out to be at the moving company, and so he's knows her address, and he's sending her text messages. Well, I got your number anyway. Can I come by your house and see you? I know where you stay at. But you know what I mean? Like shit like that. To know that dudes is that, like I don't even know. I think even the breed of dudes is different, because like it used to be, niggas used to have pride where it was like, damn, I got shot down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I
Right.
can't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna even try to talk to her again. Like if he saw you out again, he'd be like, nah, I ain't even gonna embarrass me. You know what I'm saying? Because he had pride. Like dudes didn't used to be squares like they is now. Like some of these dudes is so square, like they ain't never been around women in their fucking life. So the moment that somebody reject them, they get violent. And like, it's weird. Like, honestly, I feel like a lot of dudes out here really don't like women, and they battling that shit on their own. That shit internally. So I don't know. But nonetheless, my advice is to, self-defense. Like I said, I carry a taser, I carry some mace. I'm ordering a little self-defense kit off of Amazon that has like the little thing that goes on your key holder, all that shit. I'm going to take a gun permit class. I've even been considering taking up some like boxing lessons, self-defense classes, all of the type of shit that you used to be like, I mean, that's a lot, but now it's not even a lot. Like, do whatever you have to do to protect yourself, ladies. That's in all honesty, because like I said, even lying ain't working. The old shit that we used to be able to tell folks, even that shit don't work no more. So
And you remember you used to tell a dude like, "Oh, I got a boyfriend," or "I'm married." He be like, "You happy though?" You be like, "Yeah, I'm happy." He be like, "All right, shawty," and like
go what?
that would be the end of it. And I even had one dude, like I gave him the wrong number. I ended up seeing him in public again, and he just laughed and was like, "Man, you a motherfucker with yourself," and that was the end of it.
Right.
So it's like, every woman has had that experience, and I definitely agree. Like, I'm definitely going to get my gun permit now. But I'm so like, I can't speak for nobody else, but I'm like, I don't need a gun. I don't want to, like, I don't want to live in a world where it's like,
I have
I
to.
have to have a gun. Like, I honestly don't feel safe going to any grocery store, like pumping gas or anything. It's like just so freaking crazy out here. Like, I was talking to a dude yesterday, or a man yesterday, and he was like, "Man, I pulled up to the gas station and a woman had her heat out in the air. Like, I'm letting you know I'm strapped." That's crazy.
Oh, that's sad. But that's sad. Is that's how we have to live now. It's crazy. I'm with you though. Like I don't want to have a gun, but it feels like it's getting to the point like it feels like the only fucking option.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it really is. Like, just like, I literally, when I go in the store, I have my hoodie on, keep my head down, get what I'm getting, and move on out the store.
Yep. Yep. Me too. Me too. And you know the crazy thing is too, it's like as a single woman, it used to be like that's where you used to like go out to places, and like especially like they tell you, oh, you can meet somebody in the grocery store or something like that. And you try, but now it's just like, nah, I'm too afraid to even like I hate
Right.
to say it to like even be like looking cute or anything like that at the grocery store, because I'm hearing too many crazy stories out here of just women being attacked. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't know.
And that's my like, it's
It's
just
crazy.
like, did you see the video though of the guy that walked in? I think it was, I don't forget where it was, but I want to say it was in some part of Georgia. Walked in the house behind the lady, and the dudes was in the house waiting. I'm like, so you finna walk in at the hub, but when the dudes come out beating you up, you cower down and roll out on the ground. No, stand up.
Right. Exactly. And I did see that video, and I was like, thank heavens that her people was there. Thank
Yeah.
heavens, because that could have went a completely other way, you know. I just seen a video actually on the neighborhood talk. I didn't watch the video, but I read the description, and that's when I knew. I was like, I'm not even gonna watch this video, of the man who shot his pregnant ex-girlfriend and then got on and tried to put, like, in between it, he went and shot her. He got on and did like some little sob story on Facebook Live, and he was like, yeah, I just finished shooting my ex-girlfriend or whatever like that, and I'm rolling up on my ex-wife now because she won't let me see my kids, and that's the cause of my depression. And then she comes outside and she sees him, and she literally takes off running, and he's like, yup, it's about to go down. And then he drops the camera, and then the story is from according to the rest of the story, he ends up killing her as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Disgusting.
And I started watching it before I read the caption. It was one of like the first videos that popped up when I opened Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stopped watching it. And then I read the caption. I was like, oh, so of course I didn't get finished with it. That's not my thing. But it irks me because I'm like, you killed two women that would never be able to tell their side of things. And if somebody sees you and their first inclination is to take off running, that means you've been a threat. But we all know, and I'm like, you're a coward. You took the coward way out. That enough right there tells me that you got on here to gain sympathy before you committed those acts of violence.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And there's
Because
so
if you
many
care,
stories now coming out, even regarding that, saying that the reason the wife took the kids was because allegedly he was molesting them. So I'm just saying, there's so many sides, like you said, so many sides to a story that I don't even understand how anybody can garner sympathy. There would have been he murdered two people. I don't have sympathy for that.
right.
I don't give a fuck what the situation is. I don't care if she wasn't letting him see it, whatever her reasons were for not letting him see his kids. He murdered her, and he murdered the girl, his other girlfriend too. Like, that would have been enough for me.
Right. Like, so you 2 for 2 at this point. And I just feel like always in situations like that, if you care so much for the children, why would you go through leaving them destabilized like that without any parents, the emotional, psychological toll that you're putting on them? Why would you do that if you quote unquote care so much about them?
Facts.
Like, to me, that's just you being selfish as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Completely sad. And all in all, just women, please. And I'm not even just going to say women, because there are some crazy women out there as well who have been known to do some crazy shit too. So women, men, everybody, just please be safe. Protect yourselves. Just please be safe, because shit's crazy out here. Folks is really out here going fucking crazy. And that's all I can say. Just please be safe. All right. So that is all we have for relationships this week. Let's jump into your section this week. Fallon doesn't have a name for it yet, but she's working on it. She's going to come up with a name for it. So give it to him, Fallon.
Yep. So I have to come up with a name. I don't want it to be like, because there is a podcast name for the first idea. But anywho, Basically my section now would just be highlighting and a woman every week, a woman or a black woman or a black girl that is missing. You will see the person on our Instagram page and our hopefully our website. We can get that built in some type of way. But this week, my focus is on it's a lady. Her name is Pandora Duckett. She is from Memphis. She has been missing now 2 years. And this coming January will actually be 3. They saw her on like surveillance camera in the north part of Memphis, at a store. There was a lady that said she gave her a ride to her neighborhood and she's never been seen again. 87, well, she was 85 at the time, so now she will be 87. They did an extensive search for her. She has still not been found. Just all around sad case. Like I look for updates every so often to see, like, has she been found? Are there any updates? There's a $20,000 reward that's currently out. If you have any tips, if she is found, of course, you receive that money. Like I said, her family is still looking for her. I did a research. I don't see anything new um about this. I just find it weird that the lady said she dropped her off in her neighborhood, and I'm like, you didn't make sure she was in the house. Like it's weird. Then it's also weird that she hasn't been found even as an older lady, and if she wandered off, where is she? So that's my focus this week. Of course, I will have another, girl or woman next week. Definitely look for. I will post a picture on our Instagram page, and again, hopefully, we can build room on the website. Just remember, her name is Pandora Duckett, and you can go to our page and see an actual picture of her. Her family is still looking for her. Like I said, there's a $20,000 reward. So,
All right. All right. Awesome. Wonderful, wonderful new section that we're adding to our to the podcast. And again, as Fallon stated, it'll be up on our Instagram. I know we be lacking on Instagram, y'all. We trying. We're building some things out. 2022, we're definitely gonna do some upgrades. We got some things in the works. As well as, like Fallon said, we're going to try to I think I'm going to either add a special section for that. More than likely I'll probably add a special section for that on the website, for so we can post a picture, give all of the information, and obviously post links if you guys have tips or anything like that. The more we can help to find our missing, the better. So
definitely.
all right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next section, which is new TV, books, movies, music reviews that you want to kind of put out there. What do you got this week?
I don't have anything for movies and music. Unfortunately, I've just been watching Judge Mathis' Foolish Tale, even in the car. um, so I did look at the documentary of it's the housewife and the Shah. So I know it was like a whole little like clip that was on social media of shoot, what is her name? Sorry, I forget the lady's name. I want to say Jen Shaw. Of She's part of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Enterprise franchise. And there's like a clip where you can see she gets a phone call on like a bus. They're going on a trip. And you think of Salt Lake City? Sorry about that. There's like a whole clip where she's on the phone. They're getting ready for a group trip. She like immediately runs off the bus and leaves. And the next thing you see is like the police showing up to arrest her. Obviously she was like part of this $100 million scheme, and they were basically like signing people up for like one lady. They were offering like I want to say like a business course, like, hey, we'll help you promote your business and get it up and running and show you how to, get your social media following up and all this stuff. They never like made any moves on their promises, but they kept like getting money, getting money, getting money. And you can hear them like on recording saying, "Oh, we'll just charge this person credit card for $10,000 more." It's like, what the hell? And these people never see this money again. Um, and it just goes into like, y'all know like how I feel about financial documentaries. But I always feel like, listen, do your research when you give people your money. I know it'd be like, what I'm saying, like this is a good opportunity, but don't keep giving people your money. And for us, or for people that have older parents, look after them. Like some of the people that they scammed were older people that were like retirees or people that are in dire situations, which sucks. And it's just like they're taking, 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 taking. And she knew what she was doing. And I don't understand with her from the documentary, why did you get on Housewives? Because it's one of like, I feel like with any reality TV show, they're gonna dig and dig and dig. Because people want to know, how did you get your money? Why are you staying in a house this big? How can you afford to drive, a Maserati? Or how do you afford all of these jewels? And like from her interviews, she couldn't give like exactly what she did. So it's crazy. And of course, the it was like how they found her was so random. It was from like three dudes from a New York case. And then so they picked up on her scam. But it's real good. It's not a long documentary at all. I don't know. I don't know if she's going to get a lot of time because I'm pretty sure she's going to deny that she didn't know that it was going on like that. And she's still out here just chilling though, like still going to parties, still taking pictures, and these people ain't got that money. It's giving me, the white people Wall Street schemes, and
Yeah.
It's giving me Bernie Madoff.
A complete mess.
That's what it's giving.
All right. Anything else?
Nothing else for me. I don't think. That's the only thing I watched. It's worth noting. Yeah.
Okay. So on my end, I actually binge watched two series. I did on HBO Max, I watched The Sex Life of College Girls. It's the show that was created by Mindy Kaling. Listen, I didn't think I was going to be into it because I'm like, when I saw it pop up on HBO Max, I was like, I don't really care for this. But I actually started, because I was looking for something to watch and I was like, whatever, let's give it a try. Surprisingly enough, I actually dug it. It's a really interesting show. It if you went to college, it'll definitely give you some nostalgia moments. I will say that the girls that are depicted in this show, it's very like they're very naive in the sense like almost some of them seem a little square in terms of like maybe they were like square in high school and all that stuff. I don't know. Like I was a nerd. I've been a nerd my entire life, but when I went to college, I wasn't like that square. Like I don't know. It's hard to describe. I think there's a difference between being a nerd and being a square. And those girls, in terms of like their experiences, they definitely come off very square like. But nonetheless, it's still a cute still a decent story, a cute story. It'll keep you engaged to see the different dynamics of the young ladies, some of the different experiences. I didn't go to an Ivy League, and so the college that they're depicting it's obviously it's a made up college, but it's supposed to be like an Ivy League prestigious college experience. So I wonder if there's like some different shit that happens at those Ivy Leagues. I wouldn't be surprised, because I didn't, at my college, we didn't have, well, you know what, never mind. That's a lie. But but I don't know. It's like I said, it's a cute show. It was interesting. It kept me engaged. Like I'm willing to watch a second season. And I wasn't sure if I was going to thoroughly enjoy it, but I have come to realize that I'm kind of getting into, they call it like dry humor a little bit more. Like it doesn't have to be like drop down, slap your knee funny, but like that dry humor type jokes and stuff like that. I'm starting to find some of that shit more fun. Maybe it's just because I'm getting old. I don't know. But I'm starting to find more and more like dry humor type shows funny. And it definitely has a lot of dry humor in there. And plus, I just wanted to support, I love to see now the diversity in the writers' rooms that are starting to come, Mindy Kaling being an Indian woman, one of her characters, and a lot of the stories that she writes, her central characters are Indian women. She's really, and I think that if we want diversity in TV and movies and things like that, we want to see the different experiences in the room. Like I love to see other other cultures shining. You know what I mean? Like I love to see more Black people on the stage, on the screen, more Indian people, Asian people. Like you guys know, I'm a huge fan. I loved Crazy Rich Asians. I'm waiting on part 2. Like, could y'all please get me a part 2 ASAP? And like I said, so I just, I love supporting different things. Netflix is really big on showing like different films from across the globe, a lot of Asian films and things like that. Stuff with subtitles, even though I'm not a big like reading shit while I'm watching it, but at the same time, I'll do it if the story's interesting enough. So, because I think I was watching one on Netflix that originated in Brazil, I believe. And you can tell it was in Spanish originally. I actually would have preferred to see it in subtitles. It has some subtitles in there, but you can tell they dubbed it over in English, which if you guys have ever watched shit that's dubbed over, it's funny. But that's completely off topic. I'm going to do a full review of Sex Life with College Girls on the website. I'm going to write up an article for you guys, do a blog post on that. But it's a really, I recommend it. It's a really good show. It takes a minute, and that's my critique on a lot of shows that I've been watching. It takes a minute to get into them because a lot of them start off really slow. I think, in my opinion, I feel like the first episode started off slow. But again, intro episodes tend to be slow, in my opinion. So again, I guess because it was just an introduction to the show and the characters and everything like that. But as it goes on, it got progressively better. And like I said, I am, now it just did its season finale and it's being picked up for a second season. I am willing to sit and watch a second season. So if I'm willing to give a show another season, that means that it did a decent enough job to, pique my interest and hold me until a second season. So I would recommend it if you have some time. Again, it's an HBO Max show similar to like Insecure in that it's short as fuck. I don't think it's 10 episodes and I don't think they run past 30 minutes. The first episode is like the longest episode. It's like 58 minutes and then the rest of them are like 30 minutes, maybe 40-minute episodes. They're not long at all. So it's an easy binge through. Like I literally binged it in a day. Anyway, if you have some time, I would say check it out. Also on HBO Max, I checked out Harlem. That's the show that is starring Megan Good and Boo Boo Kitty. I don't know the 2 other young ladies' names, and I should have did a better job. And I also will be writing a review on this one as well. But I'm also going to have their names in the next episode because I want to really represent these women because they did an amazing job in this show. I think showing the diversity of just the black women crew, man. Like I am actually loving these girlfriend-esque crews that are just like shows about women that are coming out. Like it's showing the diversity of Black women and just how so many of us come together and we have these diverse little squads of different women, and their squad is diverse as fuck. Like they have their tech genius, beautiful, amazing. She's a Black lesbian and she founded this amazing queer space app. Like that story in itself is so genuine and dope as fuck, and like something I haven't seen on TV. I'm like, okay, I fuck with it. Then you have Megan Good's character. She is a anthropology professor who's going up for tenure at a prestigious, university. Like you have Boo Boo Kitty's character. She is, and I wish I would stop calling her Boo Boo Kitty, but damn it, that's what I remember her as from Empire. But she was in a job that she hated in finance, and then she now has a business that she's running on her own fashion line. She took the risk to do that. Then you have the other young lady. She had got a record deal. And then she ended up losing her record deal, and now you see her fighting back to try to become, a successful actress, singer, songwriter, etc., etc. It's just like such a diverse group of beautiful women. It's a celebration, in my opinion, just of Black women's friendships, and I don't give a fuck. I am here for that. I love to see shows about Black women as friends and the shit that we get into. So I don't give a fuck if they do 50 million of them, because people are comparing it to the show that comes on BET called 20s. And I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. If you can give me 20, 30 shows about Black women being Black women, and I will watch them. Who cares? So but yeah, I highly recommend it. Again, it's only like 10 episodes. They're not super long. You get to see so many different, like I said, different stories that you just, I don't know, that I feel like we haven't seen in terms of just the characters in themselves. And some of the topics they touch on are really good. Obviously, they talk about diversity politics. They talk about how a lot of time, how when you're performing in the other Black folks, when y'all, what I'm saying, when you're all together and the other Black folks that you're with are just like, and a white person does some shit to offend you, and everybody's like, well, just suck it up, and they're like, it's okay, blah 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 blah, and you just like, no, fuck that. I don't want to suck it up. Sometimes I just want to tell a motherfucker off. And there's just so many topics that I liked in that I fully support. And I just feel like the show is getting a raw end of the deal because you have these hotep ass niggas who want to get on there and start with their bullshit. Because all people have taken this one screenshot of Megan Good where she's like, it's a literally maybe a 10-second moment on the show where one of the dudes that Megan Good is courting, or has a moment where she's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna get my palate wet again and have a one night stand with this dude. And he comes and he like puts his legs up because he wants her to eat his eat the ass. And she was like, and she goes and she's like, nah nigga, I'm not doing it. And she boots his ass out. Like literally, it's like a 10-second barely, and it's not even important to the story at all, honesty. But that's the freeze frame clip, and you have these hotep niggas run, oh, here you go again with them trying to emasculate the Black man and blah blah. Like the fuck, man. We can't have nothing. Y'all can't even sit down and watch a show. Y'all see literally a freeze frames from some shit and decide y'all want to throw some shit out. Well, I am here to defend the show. It was good. I enjoyed it. If you have the time, or if you have Amazon Prime, if you have a Prime account, then you do have Amazon Prime. I'm just letting y'all know, because some of y'all don't know that. But if you have a Prime account, then you have Amazon Prime. Go check it out, support it. Like I said, I will watch 20, 30, 50 million shows about Black women being Black women. So support. And that's all I got.
I gotta watch Harlem.
I think you'll like it. I think you will like it. Like I said, just the story alone, like I said, I've watched tons of these type of shows and I've never seen even them take like to see a Black woman tech genius. Like there's a part in there where she's getting ready for her photo shoot for the cover of like shit like that. I want to see more shit like that, damn it. I don't care. Like I love it. And like I said, Megan Good's character being this young, beautiful, successful woman who's going after tenure at a university, like just, and she was a bomb ass teacher. Like I was looking at her, listening to her lecture. I was like, okay, I see why her class was popular. This is a good anthropology lecture. But then again, I liked anthropology in college too. So if they actually made some fucking money, I would have majored in anthropology because it's interesting ass shit. But nonetheless, I think you'll like it.
Okay.
All right. And that's all I got for new books and TV and all of that. I am going to now jump into the nerd moment of the week. And I'm going to talk about a couple of different things. So first, Spiderman No Way Home is premiering December 17th. I am super excited for this movie. You guys know I have been waiting for this movie because this is, in all honesty, this is where we're really getting introduced to the multiverse within the MCU. And you know how excited I am for that. Obviously, I think Doctor Strange 2 is going to be the big one, but this No Way Home movie looks really good. So I'm excited for it. I might actually even go to the movie theater to see it, which is big for me because I haven't been to the movie theater in like since the pandemic has taken place, but I'm considering actually going to the movie theater to see this because I'm just excited for it. It's the first one in the MCU in a while that I've been excited to see. So that's coming out on December 17th. Also, the Peacemaker trailer has premiered on HBO Max. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of, I wasn't a huge fan of this new Suicide Squad because I'm not a huge fan of James Gunn. I think he's boring as a director. But so many of you guys liked it. And you guys, a lot of you are talking about this Peacemaker show. If you guys want me to watch it or review it, let me know, like drop me some comments or something and I'll check it out. I'll give it a chance for you guys, but I'm not super stoked for it. Also on Amazon Prime, there's a show that's called The Wheel of Time. It's based on a book series, a really popular book series. I haven't read the books or anything, so I'm going to go into the show just as the show. So that's going to be that's just my disclaimer. I am also going to wait until all of the episodes have went in. On stuff like that, I like to wait until all of the episodes are done. I don't like to like watch them weekly. I prefer to just wait until everything drops. And so I'll watch the full season after it premieres, and then I will give y'all my feedback on it. Just in case it sucks, I'd rather just binge it all the way through than just wait. So I'll give you my feedback when all of the episodes have aired. But I will check that one out. Titans season 4 will begin filming in February of 2022. I watched, as you guys know, Titans season 3. I gave y'all like a small little review. I'm going to be putting a review as well of that show up on the website of season 3, but I'm and let you guys know what I'm looking forward in season 4. But they will begin filming in February of 2022. Sad news in the MCU. Leticia Wright, you guys know she played the Black Panther sister in Black Panther. It is reported, now it's rumored and reported that she is out in the MCU. There's been a lot of rumors around her in terms of her character Shuri in the MCU. Because if you guys know, in the Black Panther comics, she actually does take on the mantle of becoming the Black Panther. So there was a lot of talk about if they were going to just, since Chadwick had passed away, we're just going to hand her the mantle of becoming the Black Panther. But then we heard about her having the injury on set, and so they happened to push Black Panther 2 back now. And we also knew how she is one of those anti-vax, how she's an anti-vaxxer, you know, and so we knew at some point some shit was going to come to, you know, to pass. Right now it's just a rumor. But it was on a really, really, I will say, legitimate site in terms of this rumor that she is out of the MCU because she refuses to get vaccinated. I'm willing to say that it probably is going to come to pass, just because I just think that logistically it's going to be hard to get her back into the United States, because when she did get her injury on set, she went back home to London, and they just aren't letting people back into the United States if you are unvaccinated. Unless obviously it's Disney, so if they can finagle some way to swing around the rules, maybe they can get her back in the country. But I just don't see how, if everybody else that had to get vaccinated, how they're going to be able to swing just bringing her, you know what I mean, back in because she doesn't want to do it. I don't know. But they may pull it off. They may just decide to push it back completely. People are saying they think they'll scrap Black Panther 2. I'll tell you now, that's not going to happen. They're not going to scrap Black Panther 2. They've put too much into it. It's going to happen, but if she'll be a part of it, it's just a wait and see. We'll have to see if that rumor comes to pass or not, if it'll be confirmed. But I will be sad to see her go, because I think she did a really amazing job as Shuri in the movie. I think it would have been amazing to see her be handed the mantle if that was the route they decided to go. So it just sucks that she decided to, hey, or you know, if that comes to pass, it'll suck. And then lastly, we're gonna go all Flash here in Flash news. Rick Cosnett, who played Eddie Thawne, he will be back for one flashback episode. Robbie Amell also, he will be back for 2 episodes. It hasn't been reported who he will be playing in those 2 episodes, so we'll just have to wait and see who he will be playing, if he will be reprising his old role or if he will be playing a new one. We don't know. Also, a young lady by the name of Micah, she has been cast as a Legion of Superheroes known as Apparition. She will be coming sometime in within the Flash season. I don't know when she's set to premiere or anything like that, but she has been cast. So we will be seeing her join the Arrowverse universe. Also, as you guys know, Flash Armageddon is taking place. We just watched episode 4. Armageddon has turned out to be really, really a good first 5 episodes for the Flash. Obviously, we've been coming off of a couple of dismal seasons of the Flash. There's been some really questions about writing and everything like that, but these first 4 episodes have been really good. Obviously, spoiler alert, we find out that really the whole Armageddon was just kind of like almost like a trick, in a way that they were playing on us of, oh, Barry was causing Armageddon, when it turns out that it really was a story about the Reverse Flash and him creating a reverse Flashpoint. So nonetheless, it's been really good. Some really good storytelling. One of my favorite moments was finally seeing Iris West Allen's character interacting with another Black woman and them having this incredible bond and friendship, and actually just seeing her have a female friendship, period, has been amazing. So loved it. I want to see some more of it. I hope that they bring the character of Batwoman back so that we can see some more of that. that sisterly love going on there, because I loved it. But yeah, so that is the nerd moment for this week. Anything else on your end, Falan DeAnn?
Nothing else for me.
Wonderful. Well, then again, we want to thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in. I know I've been seeing those numbers going up steadily, more downloads coming in. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. We appreciate it. We're trying to get our stuff together. We want to try to get you guys some video content, get the blog stuff up, drive some more you guys to the website, some merch, everything. We want more things coming in 2022. We working, y'all. We working, we promise. So thank you guys so much for the support, and have a good night.
Good night.